Well, again, here I am, Daryl. Mr. Artist in Recovery. It's 7:01 in the morning West Coast time. It's still the 25th of November 2023. Yours truly is here, so. Okay, shall we talk about this Ten Commandments being put into Texas? I mean, they've been talking about this damn thing for years on this, if I'm not mistaken. They still wanted to get it in there. It's like they still want to get somehow the law to reflect that this is necessary to put in public areas. And the ACLU is going to be their number one pain in the ass for the conservative state and their mentality at this point over here because they're trying to tell them, no, you can't do this. Now, there are videos on this one. I mean, I did do a search on this. This has been about, God, 4 or 5 months ago. Not much more on the news regarding this guy. We are talking about Tellerico, right? Yeah. Okay. Pride versus Yahoo. Or yes. Okay. So that's the video you're going to try to talk about. So, a video of Texas, and I'm reading enough of there. Texas State's Representative James Tallarico uses biblical scripture to tear down conservative Christian arguments, going viral on social media. It's glorious to watch. Oh, I'd like to find out where the hell the damn thing's at, because I want to know. This summer, here we go. Okay, now I had been watching some of those things. Okay, now it breaks clarification. Past summer, the Republicans tried to pass Senate Bill 1515, which would have required Ten Commandments to be placed prominently in every public school classroom in the state. The bill was attempted by conservative Christian Republicans to inject religion into schools, but Tellerico wasn't going to take this lying down. Instead, he used their religious texts against him. Ooh. After passing the after passing the state Senate in Texas, the House Public Education Committee was considering the bill at a May meeting when the Republican Candy Noble, who sponsored the bill, argued that this legislation will bring back this historic tradition of recognizing America's foundational heritage in both our education and our judicial system. So says the Texas scorecard. In a viral video of the meeting posted to the TikTok, Tellerico stood up for the LGBTQ plus rights. Calmly explained that why, as a Christian, he felt the bill is not only constitutional, unconstitutional, it's un-American as well, and deeply unchristian. After quoting from the Bible, the Democratic lawmaker said a religion that has to force people to put up a poster, and I'm reading this off the Yahoo News on this one, okay? Sorry. That has to force people to put up a poster to prove its legitimacy is a dead religion, and it's not one I want to be part of. It's not one I am part of. He brings up the bill that goes against the Republicans' desire to get rid of any parental consent for everything. Each time on this committee that we try to teach students values like empathy or kindness, we're told we can't do that because that's the parents' role. Each time on this committee that we try to teach basic sex education to keep our kids safe, we're told that's the parents' role. But now you're putting religious commandments, literal commandments, in our classrooms, and you're saying that's the state's role. Why is it not the parents' role? Good answer. I mean, that's a good singer on that one. Question left Noble silent and searching for words before finally saying, "That's really an interesting rabbit trail you just gone on that with that one." And Noble said, "Do you believe schools are for education and not indoctrination?" To which Noble answers, "Absolutely." And then Tallarico brings his arguments home, saying, "I guess what I'm trying to figure out is why having a rainbow in a classroom is indoctrination and not having the Ten Commandments in the classroom." I want to see that video. I want to see that video. So we're going to listen to the video. I don't have TikTok. darn. But we're going to listen to it anyway because, oh, it wants me to. Okay, so I know you're going to be doing the link, and the link is definitely needed at this point. But actually, I wanted to get that on record at this point over here because there was a little bit more to it than that. You were listening and focusing on the state legislator. You weren't looking at the other guys snarking it up. Apparently, they do want religious conversion with people. And this was several months ago in our summer. I remember coming across pieces of this on YouTube on this, and the other progressives were talking about this one. And I really hadn't seen the entire video and actually see what was happening in the background beyond the gentleman. If you hadn't seen those two guys just going, so basically, I don't know what they were talking about. Probably something snarky about what the legislator was trying to put on record. These guys would have been acceptable putting the Ten Commandments on there because now they think they've got the power of God in their hands. The truth of the matter is, the reason why we had the separation of church and state is to keep the state from recognizing a religion. So we'd be following that religion instead. Much like the Church of England got set up to counter, as much as I researched into this, the Catholic Church and its power over the monarchies, including the Church of England. That's why we had what we had. George III set it up. Wanted people to follow Protestant, not Catholicism. And there was a lot of Catholics out there who didn't want this. And there was other Protestants who really didn't like the state messing around with their own versions of what Christianity meant to them. Calvinists? You ever heard of a Calvinist? I never heard of a Calvinist unless I was in a U.S. history course learning about Calvinism in my adulthood. And I never heard about Calvinists. To have someone force a religion doctrine down people's throats is just as bad as dealing with the Taliban or worse, Islamic Jihad, or anybody else for that matter. I'll bring you with one little thing that I keep talking about every so often. Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Now you got to. You have to do this. I mean, hell, you already posted it for yours, so try this for mine. Just type it out on your YouTube. Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And we have to have Khalil. Oh yes, we must have that. Oh, Jack Palance, where are you when we need you the most? Okay, there we go. Of course, they got tributes for this thing, and they actually had promos on this one. But not where he's doing this Khalil thing. Oh, good Lord, watching that show. If I could get the full one on this one, I could. But here's the thing about it. I'll tell you about the episode, okay? Planet of Enslaved Women. Earth is getting contaminated food, and they have to, Buck Rogers and Colonel William Deering have to go undercover, or practically not undercover, but they have to go to this planet where their Earth is getting their contaminated food. Roddy McDowall plays a leader, elected leader in there, I guess, or actually monarchy, and he's going to be overthrown by a religious zealot, Jack Palance. Roddy McDowall's character has no idea that the planet has slave women. It's slavery is what's that? But he's got slave women all around him, serve him. And the women tell Buck Rogers what's going on, not to mention about the cult of Khalil. And Khalil is this populist, if you want to look at him as that. but he's a very powerful populist who uses his influence and some kind of special superpower where he sucks out your will and you have to worship this guy. He scares the living crap out of you. He feeds on the fear. And the more you fear, the more this guy's hands glowing like crazy. And if they happen to touch you, you die. That's what was in this show. A two-parter on this one. They were going to spread their word of Khalil across the scars. Well, didn't happen. Khalil had to face Buck Rogers, and Buck is not doing the fisticuffs like he normally does. Hey, he's just standing here. I'm not afraid of you. Try it. And Khalil with his hands, and you see Jack Palance going, "Stay back, stay back, stay back." And earlier on in the show, the two-party, we go, put the hands on the person, they scream in pain and they're dead. And he's like, because he's drinking in the praise of everyone else going, "Khalil! Khalil! Khalil! Khalil!" Take one arm down. What do you got? What do you have? That's what we're facing. Fanaticism. If we got these, if we have these lunatics out there start developing this kind of weird ass power, we're in trouble. It's not just the power thing; it's the power trip that they're putting on everybody else these days. This is so screwed up that we don't even realize it. Oh boy, you're worried about religion in school. You're worried about it, and so do I sometimes, because it is a First Amendment situation we got over there. I know there are many paths to God that we are taught, and we should not be knocking against them left and right. But have a government system tell me that I got to worship this way because it's the law and I got no choice. I know you're probably shaking your head. Well, what was this, Khalil, versus the law? Well, what are we doing with the religion right now as it is? We want to put up the Ten Commandments. We want to put up God and everywhere else. We want to put up God everywhere. It's not like I'm looking at God as Khalil. I'm looking at the devotion of doing the stupidity when we've got laws in the book that says no, we can't because we don't want to see what happened in England a long time ago. You got put to jail. You got things happening wrong with you in England if you didn't worship the right way or if you didn't change your religion. People would know. People talked. People got in trouble. We wanted religion freedom. We wanted freedom to worship and believe any which way we want. But we didn't want state sanctioned influence on us. As much as we're hearing from the Christian nationalists out there, or the so-called Christians out there, I'd say it's so-called Christians, because in my own belief, Christians did not seek their own recognition and putting it out there saying, "See, God is real, you will believe, you will." I'm thinking to myself, Khalil, Khalil, Khalil. Am I going to be knocking against the Khalil religion at this point over here? Am I going to be knocking against their version of God? That means I got to knock out against the version of my own God. Well, my own God wouldn't like this in the first place. I mean, I know he liked devotion left and right, and people praying in churches and synagogues and mosques in whatever form that they look upon our Creator, and whatever name that they use him. If everything goes to him, that's fine. But we still have laws of the land in our place to prevent us from being told all the time. They think the Ten Commandments is moral. Well, the Ten Commandments is moral. And the thing of it is, it's still considered religion. It's still considered religious belief. Because in the Constitution that we had it mentioned in the First Amendment. Okay, let me go to the First Amendment at this point over here and quote that one over to you. Let's see, U.S. Constitution amendments. And the First Amendment says, First Amendment is about freedom of speech, notion of the government went on and freedom of ability. Oh, that's the paraphrasing shit. I need the actual. I need the actual. Let's go to the Constitution page. Better. There we go. Constitution.congress.gov. Okay. Articles, First Amendment. Here we go. Freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Okay, here we go. Well, I'll try to get down there anyway. Just get past all this stuff. Okay, here we go. Computer's dragging its collective carcass here. Well, we're waiting. Here we go. First Amendment. Congress shall make no law. Shall make no law. Respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. But the first section of it, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So, does anybody not understand this? If the federal government in the Constitution is saying that they will not respect it, what makes the state governments going to be that much in power to do so in the first place? Despite the fact that in the Constitution it does have implied powers. But they're not saying that you have to break the Constitution or even violate the First Amendment on this one. This is the reason why we have the ACLU and everybody else going after these people who are trying to change religion around, trying to make it forced down people's throat. How would it be if I was worshiping Judaism right now? Switched my religion right now to the okay, try that again. From Christianity to Judaism, or better yet, Christianity to Islam. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. I would be allowed, under the Constitution of the United States, to switch my affiliation of Christianity to whatever kind of form, because I have the freedom to do so. No state and no federal government out there will say that I am not allowed to do so. Or, if I wanted to switch from Islam to Christianity, from Judaism to Christianity, there's no law preventing me in the U.S. Constitution. You probably think I have absolutely faith in the thing. At the time, it meant a great deal. And these days, it becomes more and more imperative. It's not like we're going to be drafting constitutions every single year or every single election cycle. Some people may love that one. But this is something we stuck with for over the lifetime of our country in the United States. I'm not going against the damn thing. I don't care if anybody else has a problem with it. I got respect for the Constitution of the United States. It ain't perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect. We have amendments to make changes left and right in the thing. But there are certain amendments I am not going against at this point over here. As much as people think that Second Amendment, there goes that box opening up, is sacrosanct. I also consider the First Amendment sacrosanct. Not to mention, I also found out about the Fourth Amendment is also like sacrosanct because we are dealing with more of our constitutional things here. This is important to us. This is who and what we are in the country. Fourth Amendment search and seizure. We need warrants for that. Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital, otherwise infamous crime, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. Sixth Amendment and all criminal prosecutions. Accused shall enjoy the right of a speedy trial. Seventh Amendment. Lawsuits, common law, where the value and controversy shall exceed $20. The right of trial by jury shall be preserved. Okay. Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required. Ninth Amendment starts out with the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Okay, fine. Tenth Amendment. Powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Basically, implied rights. 11th, judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to the extent of any suit of law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state. 12th Amendment, you got a longer one on that one here. But you understand what I'm talking about at this point over here. So these things are important. The 12 of them are Bill of Rights. The 12th Amendment deals with elections. They're important to us. Much as the Second Amendment is still in contention at this point, I think people are still having a contention concerning about the First Amendment. And maybe they do. But I am not having religion forced down my throat. I'm not going to have my religion forced down any progeny's throat. And I'm not going to have anybody who's telling me that the state is delegating this because we say so. Because the voters said so. Did the voters say so, or did your own ego say so? And if it is, put them on record. Put the voters on record. Let them tell the world that they are responsible for putting an established religion to force it down people's throats. They, the people, have spoken, and they have broken the First Amendment. I'd love to see a civil lawsuit on this one. I would love to see a civil lawsuit on this one. And if we actually do have religious doctrines being put into public buildings, I'd love to see the lawsuits on this one. But here's a flip side on this one, if I'm going to be bringing up religious right. What happens during our celebrations of the winter holiday? We have several holidays. But in this essence, on public land, we are not allowed to celebrate it. This way, the people are freaking out left and right on this one because they feel their rights are being violated. No, they're not. They're being enforced by the Constitution of the United States. Meaning you couldn't even go to a city park and see your religion being worshipped or being celebrated. It also goes for the icons that we have on public lands that had to be moved to private lands. Back in the 80s or 90s, we actually had that done by this ACLU on this one. On one piece of public land, we actually had the cross out there since the early 1900s. The cross was seen across the freeway. Griffith Park, not Griffith Park. I'm seeing it. My head is not working right now. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. When the blood sugar goes screwed up, everything else goes hell in a handbasket to me. Okay. I was about to say, where were we at this point over here? But I think the points have already been made clear. Our country was established for many reasons. A lot of people had their own ideas of what we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to celebrate it, and we screwed things up left and right on that one, that's for sure. Did we understand what was going on? Nope. But we wanted our freedom, and we had to fight for it. But also at the expense of other people's freedoms as well. And we had to make amends for that one, and had to make amendments for that as well. And we're still needing to make amends on those. A great deal more than what we realize. As I said before, I am not going to have somebody dictate to me what their religious preference I'm supposed to believe in because they say so. That's not supposed to be. We're supposed to have the freedom to do so. It's up to each one of us to protect our civil liberties. It's up to each one of us that believe in the essence and spirit of what America was supposed to be to each of us. We hold true faith to that one. Everything else is screwed up right now as it is. People want to tell me what their version of morality is, and they better start practicing the damn thing before pushing it on other people's throats, because I'm not accepting anyone else's morality except what I've been taught and believed in and what I understand. Some people say they believe law and order. No, they believe in their own damn egos. They don't believe in law and order. Because the hardest damn thing to believe in law and order is to obey when you really don't want to, when you really have no choice but to. You call that enslavement, but here's the thing. Someone else is going to be depriving somebody else's civil rights and liberties. Are you going to be defending them or going on this other side to skull thump? I have to support everyone else's freedom of speech because I'm a First Amendment kind of guy. Even though they're saying that America sucks. America sucks, America sucks, America sucks. How do you like to deal with that one? Right? But I don't see you changing the damn thing. I don't care. I'm saying it. Okay, you're saying it then. What are you doing? I'm just saying it. Well then, you're going to say something about it. I support your freedom to say the damn thing, but I don't see you doing anything about it. You're not even giving out the reason why it sucks. Oh, it just sucks. Why does it? You can't ask me that. I just did. Let's go out to it. Let's have a debate over the damn thing. I don't need to debate you. Yeah, you do. Why? Because you suck. Shall we get into it? You want to tell me why America sucks? How dare you? I challenge you at this point over here. I challenge. I got a debate floor right here. You tell me why America sucks. I got my reasons. We want to hear it. We, the people, want to hear your opinion why America sucks. And then you will listen to us. No, I don't have to. Yeah, you do. Because we valued your First Amendment rights, now you value ours. No, I don't. So you're a dictator. What? I have my freedom and rights. No, you don't. What? Debate floor is open. Shall we have some fun? Well, that being said,